What's up, YouTube? Powered paragliding fans, junkies, fanatics, you know who you are. Hopefully you're enjoying the sport, but if you're just getting into it, I've been doing some reviews on my Virus powered paramotor, which I just got month and a half, 2 months ago. I've got a whopping 8 hours on the machine. I've done a couple initial impression reviews. I've done some in-flight reviews. And today I'm coming to you live from my living room because it's too darn hot outside. And I want to give you some 8-hour impressions of the Virus. I've made a couple adjustments to it. Overall, I am ridiculously happy with this machine. So, if you're in the market, I hope you would give this machine your consideration. Put it up against all the other ones, see what fits for your personal needs, and hopefully this helps you make a wise choice. So the Virus powered paraglider, straight from Bulgaria. That's the only place you can get it. There's not a current US importer. There might be in the future, but right now you have to get it from the man himself in Bulgaria. And if you need his contact info, I would be happy to give it to you. Or you can go to the Virus PPG website and you can send Jivko a contact form, fill it out, and he'll get right back to you. So 8 hours on this machine. Got the Moser 185 power plant on it. I gotta say I'm really happy with the Moser. I had a Nitro 200 before and an Air Conception Hybrid Race 130. So two different engines, and overall I really like this one. It's super smooth, it's got great power, it's got some nice mid-range punch. It just runs super smooth, and this is the dual start. You can see I've got a LiPo battery right here. There's an on-off switch that turns the starter circuit on, and it's got a pull cord so you can pull start it. And I gotta say, you know, you might be saying, geez, do I need dual start? Maybe I'll just get electric, maybe I'll just get pull. I've had pull start machines, my last two, and I'm absolutely in love with the electric start. Still feel that even if it added 5 pounds, I would still buy it. And also, the other day when I went flying, I popped this fuse, this 40 amp micro fuse that hides underneath this cover right here. You can see it there. Don't know why I popped it. I hit the starter. I don't think I really hit it very firmly. I kind of jiggled it and made 2 quick contacts and probably had a lot of inrush current. Anyway, popped the fuse. Already had the motor on my back, and I was like, geez, what am I gonna do now? And I said, geez, I'll just grab my trusty pull cord, give it 3 yanks, and it fires right up. So right there, dual start paid for itself. I didn't have to take the machine off. I didn't have to go through any hoops to change out the fuse right away. Just started it right up, and I changed the fuse after I got back. All's fine and well. So kudos and 2 thumbs up for dual start. Really love it. The other addition that I had put on was the carbon fiber cooling shroud. You can see here that I had to trim this arm right in here. I had to trim the shroud to give it proper clearance. It comes and makes contact if you don't trim it. So it's really get the Dremel out and whack it, and all's good. Really think this does a good job. I've seen a reduction in temperatures if I watch the gauge, and I think it looks cool too. So I think even if it didn't do a darn thing for cooling the head, I would still put it on there just because it looks really nice. This is the new style. They make a style that bolts here and there on the side of the head, and they make an older style that has 4 bolts right here. It actually uses the head bolts. So I like the new style a little bit better. Looks cleaner. Comes with a spark plug boot. Keeps the airflow going underneath. Works really well. What else am I really liking about this machine? Really like the clutch. This is my second machine with a clutch. I don't think that I would buy a machine without a clutch. I've had a good experience with both styles, clutched and non-clutched, and for my money, definitely a clutch. It gives you a lot of peace of mind. while you have the engine running. You can go and clip in. You don't have to worry about lines possibly tangling in the prop. It's just, I think it's the safer way to go. Are you going to miss any immediate power? I have no idea. I seriously doubt it. This thing spools up the second you touch that throttle, so take it for what it's worth. I would get a clutched engine all day, every day. The ATLs, anti-torque lamels. You may recall I started out with about 8 of them on there, and heck, I even started out putting them on the wrong way. They were slightly confusing as to which way they went on, at least for me, because I didn't have any experience with them, and I saw a couple of different pictures online that maybe I interpreted them wrong, and maybe who knows what. But anyway, I had them on backwards once or twice, but they've been on the right way for quite some time, and I did end up going with the full set of 10. And my initial impression was that the machine had some torque, and that when you got on the throttle initially and until you became very linear with the throttle, it would push you to the right. So since then, and since I've racked up a couple of more flight hours, I've realized that the weight shift in this machine, which is primarily right here on this hybrid arm strap, and this one of course, is very, very sensitive. And I'm very used to crossing my legs in flight, and I was basically aiding the machine to turn with torque. So I've made a conscious effort to either keep my legs straight or pay attention to which way I have my legs when I'm going full throttle. Also, I made another change here on the harness. This harness has 1, 2, and 3 different locations that you can attach to the frame. So it's got a low, it's got a mid, and it's got a high. I initially started out with the high attachment point for the harness. What I found is that the thrust line from the center of the prop to where the carabiner attaches was actually tilted like this in flight, especially under power. So when I gave it full power, it had a tendency to even tilt back a little bit more. So what I did was I dropped the harness to the middle position, and what that did was it leveled out the thrust line, and it really took away a lot of the pitch that I was seeing. So now with the harness in the middle position, this machine flies absolutely straight. So I've got the lamels on here. From the factory, it comes with 2 spacers here, which kind of offset the arm. And I've got the harness in the center or mid position. And there is nothing more that has to be done. So I can go from idle to full throttle to back again. No need to worry about waiting for linear power or anything like that. The machine tracks perfectly straight. And I'm very happy with that. So after a little bit of tinkering, it was well worth finding the right setting. So if your machine has adjustments such as harness on the frame, height adjustments, and things like that, where you can affect your thrust angle and your pitch angle, you should absolutely pay attention to that. And I gotta say, I learned a lot from the Scout videos. They have a tech series online. If you go to their channel, they must have 30 or so videos, and every one of them you can learn something from. And I really studied those videos specifically when they were talking about angles and pitch and thrust and hang points and all of that. So I learned quite a bit, and I'm very happy with the results. What else? I did hook up the speed bar. As you can see, the speed bar is attached down here. This harness only has 1 pulley. I'm used to seeing at least 2 pulleys. Maybe 1 in the front, maybe 1 here, maybe 1 up here somewhere, but this only has 1. So what I did was I ran, never mind this carabiner, I use that to hold the seat up, but I ran the speed bar line through the harness hoop here, and as you can see, it goes to this pulley here, and then to make it come straight up in flight, I just attached a small shackle right to the arm here. and the speed bar sister clip runs pretty much straight up, and it attaches to the riser. Thanks to Mitch Graham for that idea. I was thinking about putting another pulley on there, and that worked out perfectly. Some other tidbits of information. I found out that my idle was a little bit, I would say, erratic, and that was due to the way I had this routed, the throttle. I had, it wasn't very smooth. I had it kind of clipped up here, and then it went down under, and then it came back up, and then it went around this way, and then it came down here, and then you can see there's got a brass 90-degree bend down there, and then it eventually gets to the carburetor in here. So too many bends, really. The throttle returned, it opened and closed fairly smoothly, but what I found is if I raised my arm or lowered my arm, I would affect the idle. And, I don't like that one bit. So I found that if I made this side very loose and had a nice gentle bend, made sure this was straight and only attached in this one spot here, that I could basically have trouble-free throttle operation and keep things nice and smooth. So that was a positive change as well. Still no issues with the reserve parachute. This is a Sky Country 33 square meter, and it is a square, not a round, parachute, reserve parachute. It's not the light version, it's the regular version, so it's about 4-point-something pounds. It clips here, here, and here, so when I get in the harness, I unclip right there. I swing this out of the way. I never clip this bottom one, there's no need. So I just clip the top and leave these two clipped at all times. And that works very well. Still loving the buckles here. Ridiculously easy, as I've demonstrated before. Usually I could do it with one hand if I'm halfway good at it. As you can see, not a lot of harnesses can you buckle with one hand. So that's pretty damn great. I like that. They did a really good job there. Also, my initial impression of the Ava Sport harness, I don't think I was very favorable of the harness at first. I would say probably because I wasn't used to it. But Jeevco contacted me. He said that I had the straps kind of routed the wrong, well, they were routed the right way, but they were exposed, the buckles were exposed up here, and this wasn't coming out the bottom, so I was getting some movement in the straps. And that made all the difference in the world. The harness stays put perfectly. These side pulls here cinch down. And ever since that, no issue. The harness is comfortable in flight. Sometimes I find that I have to give myself a hand to get into the seat. I actually have to reach down and pull the seat board out a little bit. I don't find that to be a hassle. Previous machines, I was just able to jump right in. Lift my legs, and the board would just kind of flop out and you were in. This one, I think you need to give it a little bit of a hand, and no big deal. Maybe I got to adjust my leg straps a little bit more. I've loosened it. Maybe I'll loosen them a little bit more, and I actually think that that's what's holding me back, but it hasn't been anything that I needed to worry about, so I haven't really addressed it. I would highly recommend that if you get this machine and it comes with these carabiners, that you throw them immediately in the garbage, and or get a hot knife and cut this piece of plastic off, because this is an absolute pain. It's great that it keeps the strap in place, and it keeps your riser really in check right here. It doesn't let it move around. I get it, it's a safety feature, but in my opinion, it's too small. It's very hard to work this. It doesn't have a whole lot of movement, as you can see. That's it, not a lot. So I would get bigger carabiners and maybe a different design here. I did go to the website, and I did see where other people, or the website for this carabiner, it's Austria Alpine. And there are people that actually remove this, and the manufacturer says it's absolutely fine to do. I'm going to leave it on there. I'm used to it now, but it's really hard to get the carabiner into the holes here with this big buckle or this in the way. Once it's there, you really don't have to mess with it. But can be challenging. What else? I don't know if there is anything else. I don't want to bore you to death. I'm still in love with this net. I haven't made any adjustments to it. Previous machines, I've had to, continually adjust the net. This net, again, clips down here, and this is half. So you tighten this half over here, you tighten this half over here, and they remain totally separate, and the excess connects at the bottom here. The only part that actually appears like it's not super tight is down here towards the bottom, but this net is very tight. It stays very tight. Love it. Super easy, super great, wouldn't change a thing. Haven't had any issues with the exhaust. I have heard some people mentioning that the dual start Moser 185s having like an internal pipe in here which separates, and they might have to do some welds on it. I'm not sure if that affects every dual start machine, but some people have had issues with it. But again, there's a warranty for that, or self-fix if you need to. I haven't noticed any leaks. I haven't noticed really the belt appears to be pretty darn tight still at 8 hours. I've checked the prop bolts once to make sure they were still torqued. Really, I haven't done anything else to it. It's been doing great. All of the attachment points for the cage, nothing is vibrated loose, nothing is moved on me. I've had really just an absolute positive experience with the machine. So again, if you're in the market, I would say definitely give Virus PPG your attention. Yes, it's definitely a great machine. It's not in the lightweight category for paramotors, but if that doesn't bother you, then I think you might have a winner right here. I can honestly say that I've walked across some pretty big fields, landed and had to walk to my car with my wing, and I haven't had a bit of problem with it. It's got to be in the 80 plus pound range with full fuel and my reserve. Depending on how much fuel you put in it, obviously that's going to affect weight quite a bit because it holds 3 gallons. So you're looking at, in the 20s for total weight of fuel. So if you add the fuel plus my reserve, you're almost at 30 pounds just right there. So think about the engine being, I think it's roughly 28 or however they say, and the frame and then the harness. So overall, it all adds up, and I think you get what you pay for. This is a solid machine. 7075 aircraft grade aluminum. I haven't put a scratch or a ding or a dent on it, and I feel very confident that if I had a bouncy approach or I dinged it off something on a landing, I think that it would be robust enough that it wouldn't have any issues. So hopefully that helps you guys out. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Enjoy. Thanks.